Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello all. Welcome to the conference on UMAP as a platform for academic mobility, home-based internationalization. First of all, please accept my apology for not being able to attend to see you guys at this particular conference. I've already talked to Attorney Lily and explained to her what has happened. My apologies. Having said that, here I am on this particular video to deliver the particular speech. Hi, I'm Yazrina from UKM-Global. Now, my talk today is going to be on strategies to strengthen the internationalization at home, capitalizing on partnership, alliances, and mobility. Last year, or was it last 2 years, I remember coming to the UMAP conference and I was talking about mobility. But this time around, let's focus on partnership. Now, I think most of us here are all not only people from the international office, but also an academic. What is it? What's about partnership? Now, most of us know partnership is when you look at partners, university partners, industry or embassy, and we're going to look on the partnership alliances. And of course, definitely, I'm going to go through a UKM case study based on our experience. Now, when we talk about partnership, it's relatively on friendship. So it has common purposes. Why are we doing it? Why do we need to do it? And we look at the state of being a partner. Who is supposed to be our partner? So at the international office or at the university itself, the partners will be other universities, industries, our own academics or our other academics, even our students. All right? And the whole idea of having partnership is actually to share skills and resources. And of course, it is an association. It's a group of 2 or more people getting together, achieving a certain goal to achieve certain things. So that's what partnership. So in university partnerships, what we look are local partners. So look around you. Who are the local partners? Could be your own local universities, your local students, or your local industries. It can also be regional partners outside of your local environment, and international partners. All in all, your partners can come from academia, can come from industries, and you must remember it can also come from embassies. Right. So having this partnership, meaning that you talk to these people and try to achieve a certain goal. For instance, all of you here, I'm sure, has talked to partner universities in terms of mobility exchange, in terms of academic exchange. So what is it that you face during these particular conversations with your partners? You will face challenges. So a lot of us look at partnerships as having that friendship, having that, mutual understanding. Most of us have plenty in number, but of course, sometimes substance often exchange is very, very minimal. What I mean is that a lot of us go into the partnership saying that we need to materialize this via certain, agreements, via our MOU, LOI or MOA. And then once you've signed the agreement, what happens? Everybody keeps quiet. Everybody is happy. All right, we are talking to each other. And then after 3 years, you realize that the agreement is no longer valid and nothing has been done. So a lot of this, sometimes what we call plenty in number but little in substance. We have transactional partnership, meaning in terms of our mobility, that's kind of transactional. But how often do we have transformational partnership that transform the whole university geared towards internationalization? Other challenges that we face is, of course, developing and sustaining the partnership itself. It's not particularly easy for one to look and to retain a partner with another partner for the longest time. The easiest example that I can think of is when you're getting married, or when you plan to get married, or when you are already married. All right? Before you get married, you need to look who are your partners that you choose. Once you agreed on that, then you decide to get married. Once you are in that marriage partnership, it's not easy because you have to look at your partners. Look, they handle things differently. We do things differently. How can we come into terms? And to sustain that marriage partnership until 50 years or 60 years of marriage is not something that's easy because it needs a lot of tolerance. It needs a lot of communication. So all in all, there's a lot of challenges. And of course, sometimes we don't have portfolios. Who have we covered? Have we covered certain region? Have we covered at every university. So these are the kind of things that you need to look into. All right, let's go into detail. If you look into my slides that I've given to you, or the organizer had given to you, you look at transactional partnership. Transactional partnership are the common ones that most universities has done. All right, it's an easy change network. It's exchange between students. A lot of us, when we venture into new partners, the first thing that we say is that, do you have a summer program? Do you do mobility exchange? Do you do faculty exchange? So that's the kind of transactional partnership that we're talking about. It's easy to construct because it achieves certain purposes. For once you go into the partner, you say, all right, I have a summer program. Right? Let's join this summer program. You have a summer program. Let's exchange. All right? So you achieve those goals. And it's particularly easy. So then you go to the next level. How do we go about this? All right? Meaning that you look, how many students that do we want to exchange? What's the period? Is there any fees being involved? If there isn't, how are we going to go through? And what do the students gain? Okay? But transformational partnership, the next one, is a long term. All right? Because once you have established that relationship, for instance, UKM in particular, we've got a summer program that has lasted for almost 10 years now, and it's still going on. And we've got certain number of partners sending their students, right? So after 10 years, what's next? All right? So this is the thing that we look into transformational partnership. You look at long term. Can there be shared resources? Meaning that can we share our academics? Can we share our students? Do we have a collaborative curricula? Do we have an active dialogue session? And then does it lead to joint research undertaken by the academia? So the first one is transactional, get it work done. And then next would be transformational partnership. So the question is, how does the university transform? How do we lead towards transformational partnership? Most of you in the audience were probably trying to venture into transactional partnership, getting students exchange, thinking of funding, thinking of the time, thinking of the process. So a lot of them are transaction. So if you're not settled on that, you can't move on into transformational. So you need to settle on the transaction first. But how do you get your university to transform? First of all, you need to transform your international office. All right. I'm sure all of you there, all right, has the international office that assists in all these programs. An IO, or international office, or international relations center, or international global, or whatever that you call it, that in charge of international activities, number one, must take the lead in catalyzing the activities. They must champion, they must drive the university or assist the faculties in doing so. And then number two, they need to inventory the institutions. All right, who are in what region, we are doing work with whom, and then who is active, who is non-active. And you need to lead the campus-wide discussion. Right? Meaning that it's not only your office, because if it's just your office, it's very, very difficult. It's going to be very problematic because you're the only one who's gearing towards internationalization and not getting support from the faculty or not getting support from the top management. So at the end of the day, you need to get the top management to be involved. And the next one, once you get these people on board and buying your idea to promote internationalization, you need to set procedures. All right? How do you go about this? If a new partner comes in, do we accept them? Or if a new partner wants to sign an MOU, do we accept them? How do we look on all this matter? And of course then, you need to articulate the value of the collaboration. What value does it give to you? Or most importantly, what value does it give to the university? So you really need to understand on this. And of course then, most importantly is to establish systems of regular communication. So imagine, coming back to my example, being married. If you're not talking while you're married to your spouse or your partner, how does that relationship looks like? Right? So at the end of the day, you need to talk. You need to immerse in conversation, meaningful ones. You need, if it's not conversation, via talking, it's also via email or any modes of conversation. Okay, let's look. How do we link partnership visibility via strategy? Okay, first of all, we need to learn. You need to understand your organization. You need to understand how do the university looks at partnership. Do we go just on ASEAN? Do we go on regions? Or do we go with local people? And then you need to relearn and look how you need to redesign. So at the end of the day, when you want to look at who your partners, you need to set what are the values that your partners can gain and what are the values that you yourself can gain. All right, looking at these things, then you embark into the conversation. So you need to have a task force, meaning that number one, you need to understand your partners. For instance, you in Manila, me, myself in Malaysia, what are the values? We embrace culture, we embrace connectivity, we embrace with a lot of food, with a lot of fun activities kind of thing. So when you design a summer program, it needs to include all those things, all right? And then you also need to look, does this partner requires you to go on the next level? When do we achieve that? Is it in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years? All right? And of course, then you need also to look, is your partner active? Are they willing to go beyond borders? Are they willing to do extra if you require them to do so? Or even able to adapt to your changes, for instance? All right? Let me give you an example. You know, Manila, Philippines, and Malaysia has different, slightly different, student intake time. Okay, meaning that our students, once they finish their exam and they want to go for mobility in Manila, they may even be a little bit late when they come into class. So the home universities needs to make sure that the professors, all right, and the faculties understand this, that the students might come delayed in 1 or 2 weeks due to whatever reasons. Could be visa, could be your timetable of examination, or whatever reasons, right? So if you are an understanding partner, you knew all these problems that is to come, you will be able to set, if this happens, how to do, what to do, or how to go about it. All right, so you need to identify all that. The next step is also to look at the strategy, short and mid, long term. Whether you meet the long term strategy, what is your long term goals? What's your short term goal? Usually at our office, all right, we look at short term first because it's important to make it work, to have that momentum, to have that vibrancy. Then all this combined, foresight, identify, and strategy, you come out with working framework. Okay, now how do you understand the partners? Number one, you must have the ground rules. All right, ground rules, you must have the trust. Often when you meet someone from another university, the first thing that you do is to engage with them in a conversation, get them to be interested in your university, get them to be interested to become your friend. All right, and then you see what's the growth potential. For instance, all right, UKM is ranked at, 200 plus in QS ranking. So who do we look as our partners? Do I need to look at Harvard? Do I need to look at Cambridge or Princeton? Of course, we do, but at the same time, will Harvard and Princeton be interested to send their students to us? All right, they may not because they are already at the very high end. So they may want to do something else with us, but not on students exchange. So you need to set that ground rules, okay? But if, for instance, I talk to a representative from University of Manila, all right, or Ateneo, or De La Salle, or Santo Tomas for that matter, or any other universities who are about the same level with me, 200 in ranking or maybe below, we can work something more because you work together. All right, you wanted to achieve the same goal, which is bringing the university to a higher level. So when you have the same mindset, the same goals, you will probably be be well working together. All right, you have that respect of resolution. You would have that continuity and sustainability, right? So then again, that's how you need to understand your partners. Look at their commitment, all right? For instance, for example, you look at ASEAN partners from Myanmar or from Cambodia. They might not be able to send students to you because they don't have enough funding or enough resources. So how do you go about? Are they committed to make the partnership work? Some of them, no, we don't have funding, but what we can do, all right? You can send your students to us. How do we send your students, our students to yours? How do we go about it, right? So these are the things that you look whether the university, your partner, is committed in assisting you to reach the same goal and how you also committed to help them in achieving their goal. All right. You look at participation, the shared goals, adequate time. Do they provide the time to you? Do they provide the time to talk to you? Right? Because often, sometimes when we call our partners, no, we are not able to talk. We are not able to converse. We are busy in meetings or we have other things. So then you know that they may not show that kind of interest. Or sometimes partners would see that they often want from you, but they do not want to give back, right? So at the end of the day, you need to look what matters to them and what matters to you. You also need to look at the community dimension. How big is the universities, all right? Often, we want to work with bigger universities, but whether they are interested or whether they have the same common goals, that is still a question, right? So you need to look on all those. So I've explained to you about all this, what partnership is all about, hoping that most of you here would be able to understand and get towards how can we enhance, who are our partners that can help us to move internationalization to the next level, okay? I can give you a case example which is based on our experience at UKM. Now, at the international office, most of us are in charge, I believe. Number one is to receive visits. Often when we receive visits, we say, hello, hi, you know, everything is good, what we have, what you have, shake hands, take pictures, you know, exchange presents, and that's it. After they've gone back, everything sits pretty quiet until you have a certain thing that you want to talk on, right? So when you have some kind of ways, for instance, division to handle visits, in UKM we do have that. What we do is we got division to handle the MOU, LOI, to look at associations, all right, to look at partnership establishment. So relatively, there is a person in charge, right, to look at all those. UKM has a lot of university partners. You look at industries, you look at universities, and of course you look at embassies as well. So in the slides that's given to you, you can look what are the kinds of university collaborations done by UKM. And most importantly, you need to establish yourself in association. So that's why we are here today. UMAP is one of the association that helps the university to move forward into internationalization. So you have to look whether these associations provide values to you, how much does it cost, is it value for money, and then what coverage does it give to your university in terms of promoting mobility, in terms of promoting your academia. So you need to look, because for UKM, we've got a lot of associations, and off lately we actually look which one is worth the value, worth the money, worth the effort to spend on. Some can cost very expensive but very well established. Then you look, have we joined these activities? Have we been actively participating? How does our academics and students benefit out of it? If the answers is no and none, you might as well withdraw yourself from the association. So at the end of the day, you look at, you take an active, action or proactive action. You need to establish a standard operating procedure in establishing your partnership. You need to regularly review your agreement. Okay, meaning your MOU is for 3 years, so how long do you review? Every year you need to ask the faculty who's championing, who's doing the activity, all right? And then you need to look, what are the strategic plans with your partners? If nothing has been done, should we do something about it? And of course, you need to do a roadshow, a town hall with your stakeholders, your faculty members, your students to inform, look, we are in this association, we are in this relationship with this partner, they are requesting for mobility, they are having these activities so that we can be involved with. Okay, and all right, then you need to have attending international education conference. Literally, like APAI, okay, this we had just done it in Singapore. You need to be involved in that so that you see partners, you see what's going on, right? Now, another one that you need to do is actually to map the types of partners that you have. All right, look whether are they in the same rank with you, are they above or are they beyond. Then you have to do outreach and maintain the relationship. Now, outreach regularly, if you look there, I have a rubber band technique. So when you're far, all right, when you are not talking, you need to stretch that relationship. You need to pull that relationship so that there is a tense that you need to talk. Once you have already talking, then you let it go. Let it flow. Let it do whatever that it needs to be done. So you need to make sure every year, at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year, that you outreach to your partners, even just to say, hello, how are you? What are you doing? How's things? You know, it has been half of the year. We are doing this, that, right? So again, understanding your partner. All right, it's not just merely you be engaged with them in conversation when you want to do partnership, when you want to do exchange. And you have to understand your partners and your students and your staff as well. Again, now, how to identify your partner? Look at your level of ranking according to region, your university's expertise, and then you need to have an internationalization team who looks into all this. Meeting external parties, who do you put? You need to put the correct people who has that flavor, who wants to talk, who embrace internationalization. You know, if they don't, you have to have an in-house training. You need to incorporate your student buddies or your student ambassadors. And of course, you need to establish project-based and create a happy and positive environment at the office. So relatively, human resource is very, very important when you want to establish a partnership. And at the end of the day, in UKM, due to what we did for the last 3 years, we've managed to increase the outbound students, or if you can see in the slides, it's 3,202, and we got the 1,189 students to come inbound. All right, and of course, we work that with not only with our associations, but also with our partners. And who are our strategic partners? It's actually embassies, ministries. You'll be surprised. Embassies are more than willing to help you. Let me give you a classic example of ours. Because of our good relationship with the Mexican embassy in Kuala Lumpur, we've managed to get 100 Mexican students to come to UKM in 2013. So how well is that? So embassies, you need to be in contact. Those embassies in Manila, see what can they do to assist you, right? And of course, then we see the increment in number of collaboration and our types of collaboration and partners that comes in. You know, if your partners doesn't go to your university, that's fine. What you need to do is to get them to go to APAI meetings, EAIE or NAFSA or whatever international education exhibition. So all in all, what we need to do is actually to make sure you've got a partner who understands you, and then embark in that relationship, be in touch, and talk to them and see what are the things that you can do as a transaction first, and then transform, all right, to a better kind of partnership. So that's about it at my talk today. Hope that you can learn anything. We will go to the Q&A session, hoping that the line is well. If the line is not all right, you can always write to me. Attorney Lily and Madam Elma has my contact number. Feel free to ask anything. We at the UKM-Global are more than willing to help you guys. Before I finished, next year APAI will be in Kuala Lumpur. All right, do make a point. I hope chat or the Ministry of Higher Education in Philippines would have a booth or a pavilion that you can come and engage with a lot of partners. This is where collaborations first started. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.